Medusa is one of the most famous figures in Greek mythology, known for her snake-covered head and the ability to turn anyone who looked directly at her into stone. She was one of the three Gorgons, monstrous sisters who lived far from the civilized world. While her sisters were immortal, Medusa was mortal, and her tale is deeply entwined with themes of beauty, power, and punishment. Origins of Medusa. Medusa was not always a monster. According to one version of the myth, Medusa was originally a beautiful maiden and a priestess of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. As a priestess, Medusa took a vow of chastity. However, Poseidon, the god of the sea, became enamored with her beauty and assaulted her in Athena's temple. Enraged by the desecration of her temple, Athena punished Medusa, not Poseidon, by transforming her into a monster. Her beautiful hair turned into a nest of venomous snakes, and her face became so hideous that anyone who looked at her was immediately turned to stone. Medusa as a Gorgon. After her transformation, Medusa lived in isolation, far from human civilization, on an island where few dared to venture. She was one of the three Gorgon sisters, along with Stheno and Euryale, but unlike her sisters, Medusa was mortal, which set the stage for her eventual encounter with the hero Perseus. The Gorgons were often described as winged creatures with brass hands, sharp fangs, and, in Medusa's case, a gaze so powerful it could petrify any living being. Perseus and Medusa. Medusa's story comes to its dramatic conclusion when the hero Perseus is sent on a seemingly impossible quest to slay her. King Polydectes of Seriphos ordered Perseus to bring him Medusa's head as a wedding gift. Perseus, favored by the gods, received divine help in his quest. Athena gave him a polished bronze shield to use as a mirror to avoid looking directly at Medusa. Hermes provided him with winged sandals to fly, and Hades gave him a helm of invisibility. With these gifts, Perseus set out to find Medusa. Using the reflection in Athena's shield, he carefully approached the sleeping Medusa and, without looking directly at her, beheaded her with his sword. From her severed neck sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and Chrysaor, a golden giant, both fathered by Poseidon. Perseus placed Medusa's head in a magical bag and used it as a weapon on several occasions, since it retained its petrifying power even after her death. Eventually, he gave Medusa's head to Athena, who placed it on her shield, the Aegis, as a symbol of protection and power. Symbolism and legacy. Medusa's myth has been interpreted in many ways over the centuries. She is often seen as a symbol of the dangerous power of female beauty, but her transformation into a monster also reflects the injustices faced by women in Greek mythology, particularly in terms of punishment for the actions of male gods. In art and literature, Medusa has been both a figure of horror and fascination. She has been depicted in countless sculptures, paintings, and stories throughout history. Her image as a monster capable of turning men to stone has made her an enduring figure of fear and mystery. Legend of Medusa. Once a beautiful maiden, Medusa was transformed into a monster by Athena as punishment after Poseidon violated her in the goddess's temple. With snakes for hair and a gaze that could turn anyone to stone, Medusa lived in isolation, feared by all. But her story did not end there. Perseus, the son of Zeus, was tasked with the dangerous mission of retrieving Medusa's head. Armed with Athena's mirrored shield, he approached the Gorgon while she slept. Using the reflection in the shield to avoid her deadly gaze, Perseus struck and beheaded her. Even in death, Medusa's power was immense. Her head was used by Perseus to defeat many enemies, including the sea monster Cetus. In the end, Medusa's head became part of Athena's armor, a symbol of her divine might. Medusa's story stands as one of tragedy, power, and the ability of the gods to alter fate. She remains one of the most iconic figures in Greek mythology, representing both beauty and terror.